Hiatus longer than I expected. Went on vacation. My family got COVID, so that was awesome. Um, so I'm back now, but that was my part of my vacation, and last week was COVID. So back now. My wife got it too. Daughter's good, but back. So miss some craziness in the market. And without further ado, my name is Steven Gonzalez. Welcome to my channel. We use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, and the most traded price of the month, the rolling month, and the rolling week. This helps us stay on the right side of the market and not get too enticed by price action, which is really easy to do. And lately, this market's kind of balancing, trying to figure out its way. Made a low and then had that big bearish candle and then came right back and basically put those shorts on notice. But now we've been kind of hanging out in a range, waiting for more information. Okay, so you got some stuff going on this week. Not a lot of big news this week, but a lot of Fed speak. So we'll get into that. We'll get into all of that. If you're new, subscribe to my channel, set an alert. All right. If you want to follow me on social media, well, first you can give me a thumbs up too if you like what you see. You can follow me on Twitter at Gonzo719. And we can get right into the watch list here. Don't even know who I got with me today, just because I've been gone for 2 weeks. Who knows? They might have thought I don't even do this anymore. So hopefully somebody's there. And we'll get into the watch list here. So it looks like the VIX is up 2.75%. Ether up 0.65. Dollar. Euro's showing some weakness. So dollar is up 0.5%. Bitcoin's flat. The Dow is basically flat but down slightly. ES is down 0.15. Nasdaq's down 0.28. Crude is down 0.36. China had some weak. Um, China's just been having some weak economic activity. The bonds continuing their sell-off. They're down 0.57. Gold's down 0.64 with the dollar strength. Russell's down 0.74. And the volatile metal silver is down 2.63%. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the stocks I like to trade. Now, there's not a lot of today. There isn't a lot of big news that's coming in from the holiday weekend. Even the charts, there's not a lot of edge in a lot of charts. When I charted this weekend, there's really not too many things that is going on that I can see like, ooh, this is like making my I'm looking at my chops here. Not really. Look at this. I mean, there's not even a leader here. JP Morgan's basically flat. That's not a leader, right? I'm just going to go to the weakest ones I see. Obviously BABA with China activity, but Snow, Nvidia, Apple. Apple is the weakest. Let's see if there's any kind of news here with Apple. Now that it's just stating that Messi has definitely been good for MLS and Apple TV. Okay, so let's move on to the top sector stocks. See, today's a light news day. It's not a lot of upgrades, downgrades that are really showing themselves today. Let's move on. All right, Costco is not much of a leader, right? Johnson and Johnson not much of a leader. So let's go to the laggards here. We got Morgan Stanley. Well, let's just go here. Qualcomm, Morgan Stanley, Salesforce, Roblox. Again, not a ton of news that's like gonna move markets today. People probably maybe still on vacation today. Today I'm not expecting too much fireworks. So let's move on to sectors. Um, we have healthcare that's basically not really a leader here, up 0.04%. And rounding out the bottom here is energy, technology, and semis. No surprise. No surprise there. All right. I think, and I didn't even put my. I'm a little rusty here. I didn't even put my little. Usually when I do the futures, you could tell I'm a little rusty here. I haven't done my videos. That's the futures and stocks watch list. That wraps that up. All right, we can get into some news, economic calendar here. Okay. Let's see what we have today. We don't really have much today. I mean, let's see if I can go to a 1 star impact. We do have at 10 a.m. a bunch of. They don't usually have high impact here. Okay. So we do have that. Now, I'm going to go back to 2 star to show you this calendar. Wednesday, ISM services, PMI, ISM services employment. Then we got some Fed speak, Fed Logan. Thursday's initial jobless claims, and more Fed speak. So there's Fed speak today. Now you can see it better on this site. So you got tomorrow Fed Bullard. He's an ex-Fed. Fed Logan, and then you have a bunch on September 7th. All right, you got a bunch of Fed speak. Okay. Let's see what investing.com has to say. I mean, what we already knew was happening. I mean, Goldman cuts U.S. recession stance. Um, you can see here, Goldman cuts probability of U.S. recession, and then crude falls on weak Chinese economic data. So that's the story out of China. That's really what's going on in the news. Really, that's not a lot, right? We're coming off of a holiday weekend. Okay, so we're gonna get right into the daily charts. Here's the Express chart that I've been using to map out the markets, and we're starting with SPY. So if you've been following me, and what about this little Express chart does is like the whites are monthlies, these white bars, and they're always the previous month, highs and lows. Then you have the oranges, which is weeklies. So that's basically really quickly you can get a quick glance, right? Like, so here's the candle, right? From what was that? From last Friday. So we're within the previous month's highs and lows. We went above the previous weeklies, okay? But we're still within the last month. That's just at a glance. But you can see just this, we kind of went sideways. We really didn't do much besides this big move up, right? And we're above all these moving averages now. We were below them before. So that's revisit to spin and balance here. Okay. So there's, like I said, there's not a lot going on right now. Usually I'm like, okay, we got this, we got that. Um, Actually, I see a level right here, and I'm surprised that I didn't. Oh, you know what? I probably do have that on here. Let's see here. There it is. But I'm actually seeing a level like right in here. So I'm gonna change. Not gonna change anything, but this level right here is pretty significant. 453. You can see it was support here, resistance here, and it was resistance again. So I'm actually going to get rid of this one. Does that make sense why it stopped there? Resistance, support, support, resistance, right? So that 453.67 level. All right, I can go back to this. Okay, so that level is the reason why I stopped there. No surprise. I just saw that now. All right, so where are we at now? We're at 450. We're here. We're basically at the lows of Friday right now. So out of this little balance area, we're at the lows. Now, that we're at those lows, that could possibly make a nice, you know, long setup to go to the other end of this balance here. I'm just saying because now we're all the way down here. That presents an opportunity. All right, let's move on to the Qs. All right, so here's the Qs. Here's last month's low. Here's last month's high. We're in the last month, but we're above last week's high. Okay, here's last week's highs. Now, when I say last week's highs, I don't mean last week. I meant the week before. Okay, so that just shows us what we did last week. We made new weekly highs. Okay, above all the moving averages. Let's look at our levels here. What do I have here? Obviously, important levels 384. All right. So there's a level here too. Now that I'm looking at it, I can't believe I missed these. So right here, right there, is a good level because there's support here, and then look, resistance. Okay, so I'll go back to these. All right, so I'm glad I'm finding some of these levels while I'm with you guys here. So where are we at? 376.10. So 376.10. We're at the lows. We're pretty much at the lows of Friday. Okay. So when you see it in futures, you'll see it a lot more balanced than you are in the SPY and Qs because you have the overnight sessions. You'll see just how much more balance we're in than this indicates. Okay, but you can see, look, we went all the way up here, but what did we close? Pretty much in the middle of these candles. All right, so that's how the Qs are shaping up. Let's look at the Dow. So the Dow, you notice there's a trend line here. Came right up to this trend line, and that was on Thursday. And then you had more of a balance here in the Dow. All right. So it's still above all the moving averages, but this will be the test here, this trend line. Now the Dow is at 348.60. So the Dow is towards the lows as well of Friday. So like I said, everybody, balance rules. We'll get into them later. But like I said, this could be an opportunity to fade the edges, trade from the outside in, reverse to the mean. Okay, that's kind of those kind of trades that usually comes into play with these types of trades. Okay, so here's the Dows. Now you can see the Dow had 2 months in a row with these highs. Okay, and you can see the Dow still was over the previous week's highs. So like I said, this big move up, still made a move up, right? But it was still in this little bit of a downtrend here. So we have to see with the Dow. Now the Russell, the weaker out of the indexes, okay. Let's see, we're right here. So a little different. I kind of broke out more. Now when I said weaker, I meant weaker overall, right? So kind of like had a little breakout here, but then sold off, right? But where's it now? 189.19. Look at that weakness. And it's the weakest right now. So it's gapping down. Okay, down here. Which brings it back into almost the middle of these candles. Okay, so the Dow, the Russell is the weakest. Now usually regional banking has to be weak. It's not that weak, right? But the small caps are the weakest right now. Pre-market. Okay, let's look at some levels here. There was a big level right there. It's at 190. We kind of closed there. Okay. So we really have to see with the Dow. Now, if we look at the levels, right? Here's last month's highs and lows. We're in between that, and we're also above last week, right? So all the indexes broke the previous week highs last week with this big move here. So that's pretty much it for those. We can go over to the TNX, the 10-year yield, which the bond market's been wild. Okay, let's look at the bond market. That triple-headed monster. All right, so you had somewhat a sell-off in yields a little bit, right? And then a big burst on Friday, and then today you're getting some movement again because bonds are being sold. So kind of held this 4.0 level. Okay, so do we go higher or do we take a leg lower? Really have to find out, right? And let's go to the VIX. That VIX has a huge sell-off here. We were all the way at one point. What did we make a high around 18,880? All the way down to 13. But now look at that, a jump in the VIX, right? Because of the pretty much this little bit of the sell-off over the last couple days. Okay, now let's look at the dollar. The dollar's got some strength. Look at that. Boom. Big move today. Big move in the dollar. Okay. Have to really keep an eye on that. So this is whenever you have the dollar moving up, usually not good for equities. Also, usually not good for commodities because they're priced in dollars. So oil with the China negative activity, economic activity, and the dollar going higher, that's usually not good. Okay. So that wraps up that. Okay, we can get into my favorite, the market profile. Just give me 1 second while I do that. We're going to bring it right over to the ES. Now, let me get my trusty marker out. ES demand. All right. So I talked about balance, right? So look at this profile. Balanced, right? That's what I was talking about in the futures market. So you can see the balance. Now I don't really care about these last two sessions. Okay, that would be Sunday and yesterday. Very low volume. I don't really count them. All right. So what I like to do, which is cool, I can do is I can merge these profiles into one, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to merge all those profiles together right here. So pretty cool. So I made them one profile. Okay. And if you hear Peppa the Pig, that's my daughter in the background. So let's look at this, right? So we have Friday session. Okay. We came into demand, pretty much hit the 50-day moving average here on a daily. And we found some buyers there. But however, let's look at our levels, right? We are in ultimate balance in ES. Okay. The most traded price of the week and the most traded price of the month. are equal. And that price is, let's call it 45.25. 45.25. That's the most traded price of the last month and the last week. So it's a pretty significant level. Okay, 45.25. Right now, price is here at 45.08. We're below it. That is bearish. But we're at the bottom of the range. Okay, so here's our little range. And it hit the bottom of it, and price is here. So what do we have, right? We have shorts from here and here. Now, balance rules, okay, say if the market cannot break out of this balance, we're probably going to go back up and test the other side of balance. And then if it doesn't do that, it's going to break down. Okay. Now, obviously, you're going to have a breakout from this balance. This is what I call ultimate balance, when you have the most traded price of the week and the most traded price of the month together. It's like a coiled spring, okay? It's coiling with just building more energy. Now, below us, okay? And this is what Rosita likes to hear about. Below us, we have this one day over here, and you have single prints, a bunch of single prints, which means emotional buying, okay? And these single prints don't have much support. And so then you have this pocket, this whole area does not have a lot of support. So if we break down here and hold, we could definitely come and clean all this up. Now, that has to have a lot of weakness in the market, a lot of volume, right? But this is very susceptible to get cleaned out. Now, however, if it doesn't, let's say the market comes down, tries to break out of balance, holds it, starts going, that is a sign of strength. Okay? That is a sign of strength. So just keep that in mind. There's not a solid foundation if we break lower. But if the market holds, that is bullish. That is very bullish. Okay? So we're going to get right into scenarios today. Okay? Of what I'm seeing right now. Okay, we're going to go with the bullish scenario. Okay, so price is here. We're at the in demand zone. We have the 9 EMA daily, the 50-day moving average on the daily. So those are below us. That could act as support. Okay, they could act as support. So first thing I would like to see, if in a bull scenario, would be a push down lower. Test these. You got a naked VPOC here too. Test this bottom of the balance. If it can't break out and hold, and it starts to recover and make some higher lows, well, the market's most likely going to test the most traded price of Friday, that 45.25, that monster level, and this is also monthly VWAP, and it's probably going to go test out the other side of this balance. And you have a weak high here. See these highs? They're equal. That's a weak high. So that's another place that you could kind of like just rock it off of. Now, of course, that sets up the next basically trade. Okay? Well, not trade, but scenario. So another thing that could possibly happen is if you don't want to, if you're a little scared to go long in here, which maybe I might have been in the past, but now that's kind of my MO. I like to do kind of the reversal. Is conservatively, you could wait until you take out this level. 45.25, hold it and go for this move. That's another move there. Okay, now, since we are in balance, you have to talk about the other side, right? Now, of course, I said this is the breakout level to go lower. So if we were to go down and we were just gonna test this breakout, right? Test this support level here at the bottom of this balance. You need to come down with pretty nice volume and push down and hold. You need to hold. That means finding acceptance to then take out all these single prints. Okay, that's one. All right. Second is okay. Now we're getting to move higher now a little bit. I don't know what's going on. It's 843. Not huge, but we were just down here. Now we're up here, which is fine. Now, another move, okay, would be okay. You go to this top side of this balance. You have supply up here in this weak high. Well, that could be, the buyers run out of steam, and what happens is you make some lower highs and you start moving back into balance, which would continue balance rules. Okay, so then that would just mean okay, longs take profits, shorts respond, and the market moves back down. And we wait more, and you have that spring coil more for more energy. Okay, that's really what I'm looking for. We can move on. We can move on to the Nasdaq. All right, so let's look at the Nasdaq. Same kind of balanced profile. Okay, that's very balanced. All right, first let me merge these. Give me a sec. Merge and merge. All right, so now we're looking at more of a traditional profile that I normally look at, right? Okay, so we got our balanced profile, right? Now, the Nasdaq isn't in ultimate balance. It is not have the most traded price of the week and the most traded price together, but the most traded price of the week is here. What is that price in futures? It is 15504. 15504. Okay. Most traded price of the month is still below. It's still here. That price is 152. This is the most traded price of the last month. So they're not exactly together like the ES. Okay. All right. Now that we have that squared away, okay, price is here right now. Okay, we're below the most traded price of the week. Got a couple supply zones up here. All right, we have kind of a weakish high, the same thing in the ES, but not as perfect. All right, so you can look at the highs of Friday, the lows of Friday, prices at the lows of Friday. Okay, so ES right now, I like this setup better that I'm looking at it. Now that I'm looking at both of these, um, there's a demand zone here. Okay, which also has the 50-day moving average here. Okay, so right off the bat, same thing is what I wanted to show you here. Now, it's like I said, it's not as nice of a setup here. However, have to point it out. Here's that elephant holding up the toothpick holding up an elephant here. You see, here's the Nasdaq's big move up, single prints. Okay, single prints is emotional buying, which doesn't usually have much support. It's just one-way trade. Okay, and then we moved up and you've held it. Okay, but if we break this demand zone here, and boom, and you hold it, those single prints are going to get cleaned here. You do have the most traded price of the month, which should be supportive a little bit, but you could find yourself right back into the most traded price of the year. Okay, same kind of scenario that was in the ES. I just want to point that out. You do not have good foundation here. That is not good foundation. Like I said, just like in the ES. However, if we try to move into these single prints and you start to get buyers That's bullish. That means sellers are not strong in this market, okay? That's how you take the temperature of the market. Something like this, right? Where foundationally, market structure, this should fall like a deck of cards. But when something like this doesn't and it holds, that's bullish, okay? Hopefully that makes it clear. Whoever is watching this, hope it makes it clear, okay? So it's very similar what I'm going to talk about with the NASDAQ, okay? Very similar. I just like the ES setup better. But the same type of scenario here. Okay, we'll go for the bullish scenario first. All right, so I'm looking at this down here, this demand. I would like to see it push down, this demand to hold, high or low. Even if it breaks real quick but recovers, got the 50-day moving average on the daily here, I could see us tagging the most traded price of the week. And you got supply here, which should be tough sledding a little bit. Okay, you might get caught up in here. I'm not saying you'd have to take out these supply zones to go up to this week high up here. Possible. Possible. Now, market's getting a little bit of a catching a bid right now. Right, it went right up now to the most traded price. So this scenario still holds true. It's just the price is moving right back up. Okay, that price right there, where that is, doesn't give a lot of edge. It's going right back into balance. Okay. Now let's talk about a more of a bearish scenario. Okay. The bearish scenario is there is supply in here, and there is a monthly VWAP. So this is not something I love, but the setup I don't love it because you have the most traded price of the month. I mean the week here, and then supply here. You have three supply zones here. So in a monthly VWAP. So what you'd want to see here is a failure into these supplies and probably hold under the most traded price of the week to go lower. And I would say that would be the first target for the market. Then it would be a test to see if it can break. Okay. If the market catches a bid, right, and goes above the most traded price of the week, the monthly VWAP, and these supplies, well, you're going to go right into this supply zone here with this semi double top week high here, and there's a gap up here. Maybe touch the gap and you could possibly roll over. Remember, this is a bearish scenario, so there's a gap up there. So that's what I'm seeing. All right, just to give you an example of that gap, this blue line right there, that's the gap above overhead. That's not been filled yet. Okay, possibly if there's a strong bullish move today, you could fill that gap, but you got supply there. Okay, so it's very tricky. This market is not something that I'm ecstatic about right now. That doesn't make me excited. Where this price is, in the middle of all this, it's just not. You don't really want to be. We're going to make out to the edge somewhere, but I don't like being in the middle of this. You're going to get chopped up. Let's just look at the ES real quick to see where that is. Okay, look at that difference. When I first started talking, the ES was down here. Now it's all the way back here. It's like in the middle. That is just no edge to that. There's no edge to that for me. You are going to go, this is called an inside out trade. So we are going to go from here out to here or out to here. And then that's when I'll be more and more interested in the trading. Okay? So market has basically turned it into no edge. Now, we're in the middle of balance. All right? I need to see some kind of excess or stretching of the market for me to be interested. Okay? So that's going to be it for me. All right? Hopefully somebody caught that I was on the video or today and that I'm back. And COVID kind of took me out after my vacation. So if you like what you saw, subscribe, set an alert. That would mean a lot. As always, you can give me a like if you like what you saw. You can follow me on Twitter at Gonzo719. All right. So that's it for me today, guys. So remember, I don't expect fireworks today, but right now, this market is not giving an edge. Right now, I don't see too much edge in it until it reaches one of those areas, a supply or a demand zone. Okay. So be patient. I'm gonna be patient. I haven't traded in like 2 weeks, so I'm gonna really try to settle in here. So, and I wish everybody luck, stay green, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.